Good morning. It's 9 o'clock. Today is Wednesday, February 5th, 2020. Notice has been given that a regular meeting of Commissioners Court of Grimes County, Texas will be held this date at this time. And we are at the 114 West Buffington Avenue address in Anderson, Texas. At this time, we are calling the meeting to order. I would ask that if you would you stand for the invocation, remain standing for the pledges to the U.S. and the Texas flag. Would you pray with me, please? Father, we thank you to God for this day, for the blessings of this life. Father, for all that are present this day, we ask that you watch over and keep them safe. The roads are slick. We would appreciate all of our citizens being careful. And Father, give them guidance, wisdom when they drive. Father, we just thank you for all of the commissioners that serve on this court and all of the elected officials in this county. We know it is a job, it's a position, but it's also a service, and we're grateful for the service that they provide in their day-to-day activities of helping others. We ask that you help us to be mindful of one another in all that we do. Help us to care for one another as we should, and thank you for loving us so much. And it's in your Son's precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you so much, and if you'd be seated, please. We'll now move to agenda item number 2, public comments. I have 2 that would like to speak. We'll go ladies first. Ms. Connie Clements. And you want to talk on a mother-son dance fundraiser?
Right.
Okay.
I'm Connie Clements. I'm here on behalf of Grimes County Crime Stoppers. And this Saturday we are sponsoring a mother-son dance. And it's not just limited to mothers, boys ages 1st through the 5th grade, your mother, grandmother, aunt, that woman who nurtures them in their life can bring them, and we hope we'll have a good evening. The proceeds are going to fund our law enforcement awards dinner that we'll be scheduling later on this year.
Thank you.
Did you
I'm
give
sorry,
a time?
6 to 8, and it's over at the Anderson Community Center.
Okay.
And $5 per person.
Can a lady bring more than
Oh, sure.
1 or 2 dancers with her? Sure. Awesome. Okay. Thank you for that very much. Second public comment would be Mr. Bob Goldstein, Crime Stoppers. And you want to talk about Crime Stoppers?
Thank you.
Just keeping you honest, sir.
Name's Bob Goldstein, and I am president of Crime Stoppers, and I'm here to thank the court for the money that you have given us to support our program. Mainly, program that we set up for the kids in school in Campus P3. I have put a
Cool.
bookmark that has been really quite modernized. If you notice, there's a place for you to take a picture of it with your cell phone, and it automatically kicks in that app for those kids so that they can go forward. Since we have put it in, we have had some reaction to it. The support of the software for it is quite expensive, and 90% of what you have given us goes towards supporting that and our P3 for regular Crime Stopper. Mine just went blank.
Activities.
Tips that come across, and our weekly notification in the newspaper of people that the police are after. We are fully supporting the law enforcement in Grimes County and in Texas. We are an equal opportunity group. Anybody that wants to join, we more than welcome you. That's about all I have. But just to know that our group really does appreciate what you do.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Dobianski.
This Sunday, St. Mary's Catholic Church is holding a blood drive from 8 until 1 o'clock. The men's club is also serving breakfast. We'll have sausage, scrambled eggs, biscuits, and gravy. So come give blood and get a free breakfast.
Location one more time?
St. Mary's Catholic
St.
Church.
Mary's. That's on FM 1774.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd also like to announce that on February 18th at 7 p.m. at the Navasota Center, we will have a presentation to the county from Wendy Waltress and Fred Baldwin, who many of you see the photos in the upstairs in the county courthouse. They are the photographers of those pictures. They will be here to make a presentation. They have traveled the world. They became renowned photographers for the work that was done here in Grimes County in the late 70s and the early 80s. And I had a chance to meet them back in the day, and I even got offered an opportunity to travel with them, but I was scared to leave home. But they are wonderful people, and they come and they visit. They were here this summer, and so they're coming back to do this on behalf of the Historical Society, I think, is
Correct.
helping them with this.
Two
So-
Rivers and Grimes County Historical Commission.
Okay, all right, and I just think it's just wonderful. So they're asking as many people as possible come out and view this presentation. And if you're not able to come, there's also a presentation on PBS, if you Google it, about how, just find their names, and it's about rural photography.
Thank you.
What time is that?
At 7 p.m., isn't it? 7? Thank you.
It's
There.
free.
And it's free.
At the Navasota Center in Navasota.
Yes.
I think we can fill that place up. It'll be great. I have a quick announcement. If y'all are wondering what this huge crystal block is, Grimes County, out of 254 counties in the state of Texas, received the Stewards Award of Historical Courthouses, and that was presented to Mr. Al Peeler on last Friday. A number of the Grimes County Historical Commission, our tax assessor collector, our county treasurer, and a number of other folks, citizens within the county, went to that annual conference, and they presented this to Mr. Peeler, and along with it, we collected $1,000 from the Texas Historical Commission that we brought back, and I believe our treasurer has already deposited that check. So, congratulations to the county for this award, and I think it says a lot about us preserving the history here in Grimes County, so thank you. Are there any other public comments?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. With that, we will go to consent agenda items number 3, number 4, and number 5. Number 3 is consider and take action to approve the treasurer's list of claims and bills. Number 4, consider and take action to approve payroll. Number 5, receive and approve the Grimes County fourth quarter investment report for the period ending December 31, 2019. See page 4 of this agenda.
I'd just like to mention that I see we are now in our new system, and it's a work in progress. But thank you all that have been working so hard and so diligently to make this transition possible, and we'll get used to it.
Yeah, hopefully we will too.
Very good. Are there any other comments or questions regarding consent agenda items 3, 4, and 5?
I don't have any. With that being said, I would like to make the motion that we approve consent agenda items 3, 4, and 5.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on consent agenda items number 3, 4, and 5 by Commissioner Walker, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. All in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carries. We'll go to agenda item number 6, Commissioner Dobianski, consider and recognize the following employee for their years of service. Nancy Frank, 5 years. Nancy, are you here? You are.
And while she's taking the picture, Nancy is our secretary over at the Grimes Health Resource Center, and she's been so valuable to us over there and the citizens of Grimes County.
Thank you. We were gonna get you a new car, but they couldn't get it in the color you wanted, so you just have to accept that pen. Okay. Moving right along. Agenda item number 7, Grimes County IT Director Greg Cannon, consider and approve registration of all county employees for the state mandated cybersecurity training to be completed by June 2020. See attachment number 7. Is Greg not here? Okay. Well, I can attest that it is a mandate from the state. They have provided it online. It is a free service, and I don't know how they're going to enforce it if we don't have our county employees take this. But Andrew Duncan, our IT help desk, he took it, and even though he's well versed in all of that, he said it was quite easy and very fast to do. So, have you already done it, Jay?
Yes, sir.
How long did it take you, sir?
About 20 minutes.
Okay, all right. So it's not a whole lot of time that each individual is going to have to spend doing this, but all of those employees within the county that have access to computers, use computers, need to use computers within county business are obligated to take this cybersecurity training. So,
We took a session at the conference we went to back in October on that. Do you know if that will satisfy that?
that will not satisfy. That will not satisfy.
Okay.
And this has to be done at least annually, according to,
Oh, because of the changes and all, yeah, updates and changes, so kind of like benefits and insurance sign up, we're gonna have to get used to this, but if Jay can do it in 20 minutes, most of you can probably do it in 30 or 40.
Or 5.
Or 5. I wasn't gonna comment. Thank you for that reminder.
Well, could this be placed in, I guess, where we could at least track it in our HR? That they have passed the,
well, Andrew,
yeah.
it came from IT, the logins that they've set up, so they may be the
IT
ones
would be
that
the
are
ones that would
tracking.
track
They
it.
get
make
a
sure
notice
that-
every time anybody completes it in their email.
Okay.
And we have about 185 employees in the county, not all 185 are obligated to take the training, I don't believe. But earlier this week, I know that 36 county employees had already taken the training and passed the training. So we're moving, but we need to keep it. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know if everybody that has an email that this email was sent out to? Within that has a county email?
It was all employee, it was registered under all employees under, when it comes to me.
Okay, so it should be all of them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
Okay. Any other comments on that, commissioners? With that, then we will go to agenda item number 8, consider and approve items for auction, attachment number 8.
Judge, we
We
can
option
take action on this.
We have to
Oh,
approve the, I
well,
make
I
the
was going to take
motion.
the training, Counselor.
I'll make the motion to approve the registration of all county employees for the state mandated cybersecurity training to be completed by June 2020.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 7 by Commissioner Walker, seconded by Commissioner Mallett. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you for that catch. Agenda item number 8, consider and approve items for auction. That's our attachment number 8. We have a Apple Mac 27 computer, 27-inch computer, and a copier. There was no asset tag. I don't believe on either one.
The Mac has cooling fan issues.
So anyway, those are the two items that they wanted to put, IT wanted to put on the bid list, auction list, and move out of the county's property.
I move to approve the presented items for auction.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 8 by Commissioner Mallett, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 9, Grimes County Elections Administrator Lucy Abada, consider and approve petition submitted on behalf of the Democratic Party of Grimes County requesting that Sunday, February 23rd, 2020 be added as an early voting day for the primary election for Grimes County. Ms. Abada.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so before we move any further, just a correction. I was under the impression that we had to actually have Commissioners Court approval for the petition. We do not have to have that. So just a correction on that wording, you guys don't have to approve that. And then also the.
But I asked you to present it to the court so we
Yes.
have public awareness.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. The wording on there does name it as a Democratic Party petition, only because the Democratic Party did ask for the petition and did submit it on behalf of their party. They are the ones who gathered the signatures and asked for Sunday voting, which would be Sunday, February 23rd.
But it doesn't mean the Republicans are excluded from voting.
Right.
It's just the process.
Yes, sir, and I did speak with Republican Chair Susan Patrick. She's well aware of it and was aware before we started. I met with both chairs prior to them starting the petition. So everybody was involved, well informed, and on board with it.
Okay.
Our election notice will go out, the revised notice will go out today. It will not be posted in the Examiner because it is not required for the primary, so that does save us a $400 cost unless you guys would wish it otherwise. But that cost is not covered by primary expenses, so it would come out of our budget. But it's not required, but it will be posted, everywhere normal that is free to post it. So the public, it will be aware of it. It will be posted at every voting location too that is a community or civic center. So that way they do know that, because Sunday's not a normal day for us to vote, and so they do know that Sunday, the 23rd, will be a day that will be open from 1 to 4:30. And our locations will be at the Navasota Center. Any questions for me? No?
Were you able to verify how many people voted? I set a number of 256 on that.
I pulled the report, it was still pending this morning when I asked for it.
It was close, the last time, it was close to 400 people.
Was it 400?
On that Sunday?
It was up in the upper threes, 380 something.
But we only held it at the one location, correct?
Right.
That was at the Navasota Center.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And we'll have it fully staffed. We'll have at least a minimum of 4 staff and 5 machines, just like a normal early voting day.
Sure, okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Abada?
I just have a comment.
Go ahead.
She did an excellent job on her radio interview a couple
Oh,
weeks ago
thank you. Thank you very much. Oh,
to inform the public about the upcoming election.
We will now go to agenda item number 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. We'll take them one at a time, but Mr. Walker?
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Item 10 is a special road use indemnity agreement for expert analysis. Expert analysis is a contractor for Magellan. Magellan is not done, they have not gone away. They're going to be building a pump station on the pipeline at County Road 311. This aspect of the project has been held up for a while. Apparently, they were waiting for Texas Central to finish acquisition of the property before they could get their parcel, so it's been delayed. So that's why it's coming along after the rest of the project. But it's just going to be the one site. Magellan in general, they are still finishing up their closeout procedures, doing their restoration and everything on the rest of the pipeline. But there is still some activity going on. But we're recommending approval. 311 is a paved road, and we have done our inspection.
But before you go to 11, I think we ought to take care of 10. No?
County Road 311.
Oh, I'm sorry.
County Road 311 is item 10.
Well, I'm on point since John caught me. I'm making sure I don't let it happen again.
Just to confuse it.
Yeah. Okay,
So
I'm
we are
sorry.
recommending approval of this permit.
Okay. Now can I bring it up?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a motion on agenda item number 10?
I move that we approve the special road use indemnity agreement for expert analysis for installation of a pump station on County Road 311.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 10 by Commissioner Dobianski, seconded by Commissioner Cox. Is there further discussion? You said they had to get their approval from TCR?
Yes. And apparently that sale has closed now, so they're able to move forward.
Okay. Is there any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 11, consideration and possible approval of a special road use and indemnity agreement for J7 Services on Dogwood Trail, should be Trail.
Trail.
Dogwood Trail and Deer Run, attachment number 11.
This is another special road use agreement. Tyler Gross with J7 Services is here this morning. This is a project to develop rental cabins on a parcel of property that they have
That's where I recognize it
at the end of Deer Run. They would be taking access off of FM 362 by way of Dogwood Trail to down to the end of Deer Run, then to access their property. One question has come up in regards to this, that question was asked about whether this type of a development required a subdivision plat to be done. It does not, because these are rental cabins. They are not being offered for sale. The property is not being subdivided, so they don't have to go through the platting process. So basically, the road use permit and then their septic permits are the only permits they'll be getting from the county. And if y'all have any questions, I'm sure Tyler will be glad to try and answer them for you.
Approximately how many did you say?
There'll be 46 cabins in all.
46?
It's on, we were figuring up like 78,000. It's about 2 acres per cabin.
Okay.
It's where it's at, so.
And Dogwood Trail and Deer Run are both paved.
Yes, sir.
Is there gonna be any, are you hauling in the cabins or are you building them on site?
So the cabins will be brought in, the cabins will be
If you
brought
would
in.
identify yourself.
Oh,
for the
Tyler
court.
Gross, J7 Services. The cabins will be brought in. They're obviously, they're kind of like a tiny house, right? They're no more than 378 square feet. Then they're like 16 by 8. Sometimes they're 20 by 8. There's a 2-person configuration, a 4-person configuration, and then an ADA accessible configuration. So the longest ones are 20-foot wide by 16-foot wide, and they're single axle trailers. They're all pretty light, but they will be built off-site and brought in. We will be bringing in aggregate for the roads, so that all the travelers can get to and from the cabins properly. And we will be bringing in a couple loads of heavier equipment, bulldozer and roller, things like that, so that we can make sure the roads are installed properly.
The construction process will look like a subdivision. They'll be putting in roads, and they're already talking to the environmental department about septic systems, all of that. But they need the road use permit from Road and Bridge because of the overweight loads for both the rock and the equipment and the cabins themselves. That's why we're going through this process. And tell me again what your time frame was?
So we would like to be finished by the end of April with the entire project. So it's a reasonably expedited process for us, but that's, electrical, water, sewer, cabins, everything all the way out the door. So open by like May 1 or so, if we're lucky. Yeah.
If there are no questions or comments, I'll make a motion to approve the special road use and indemnity agreement for J7 Services on Dogwood Trail and Deer Run.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 11 by Commissioner Cox, seconded by Commissioner Walker. Is there further discussion or comment? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item numbers 12, consider acceptance of road maintenance bond for Anderson Ridge subdivision, attachment number 12.
This is the road maintenance security bond for the Anderson Ridge subdivision, which is out here on FM 149. The bond was actually submitted earlier last summer. But was never brought to court for approval, which is one of our requirements. It's a $250,000 bond, which covers the road and drainage improvements and the paving that's been put in that subdivision. We'd like to go ahead and get that approved at this time. And then they'll be under the maintenance bond for at least a year. And then because it will be an asphalt paved road, they will be subject to our 50% build out requirement. So you'll see renewals of this bond for a period of time.
If there are not any questions, I move that we approve the road maintenance bond for Anderson Ridge subdivision.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 12 by Commissioner Dobianski, seconded by Commissioner Mallett. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion does carry. Agenda item number 13. Authorize Road and Bridge to enter into agreements with Max HDD LLC and Grimes County Net regarding internet service for the new maintenance barn on FM 2445, attachment number 13.
We are working with Matt Silcox with Grimes County Net. Matt's here this morning to help me explain this. We are going to put up an 80-foot freestanding cell tower on the property on FM 2445. We're coordinating this with the new neighbors that bought the property on the west side. We're actually going to put the tower on their property, and then one of the agreements that was submitted, we are splitting the cost, and it's actually a three-way split on the cost of the tower. In exchange for and Matt, help me if I mess this up, but in exchange for allowing Matt to sell service off of that tower to other customers, he's picking up 40% of the cost of the tower. And then we propose that the county and Max HDD, which is the parent company that owns the adjacent property to the west, split the remaining 60%. So the county's cost on the tower would be $5,010. And then there's a separate agreement with GrimesCounty.net for service off the tower. We had just a standard customer agreement. And Matt, on the service, it's 3 years free internet, and then Matt gets the right to use the tower and sell service off it for 25 years. And we've been coordinating with Greg. We're talking about a 20 megabyte download speed. It'll be a nice system for us.
Yes.
What I'm going to ask you to do, because we've been furiously trying to get the agreements finalized over the last few days, if y'all would approve the agreements subject to final review by the county attorney, then we can move ahead and let John C. have a little bit more time to dot all the i's and cross all the t's.
Did you say 3 years free internet?
Yes, ma'am.
But it's not free.
Well,
Paying for a chunk
No
of the
additional
tower.
charge.
Yeah, paying for a chunk of the tower to do that. We're paying part of the tower cost to get it.
Uh-huh. But I was reading that it said they would pay a monthly service fee to Grimes County.
Right, but that's essentially consideration. I mean, we're paying for the tower, a percentage of the tower, and what we get in exchange for that is internet for 3 years, and then we pay the regular fee after 3 years.
Okay, I just want,
The installation of the tower will provide better access to the rural population out there that maybe doesn't have internet at this point.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'll be happy to, for you guys to approve it on the condition that I approve it later, but I want to be sure that you all are good with the terms. I don't want to be the guy saying I want to put in the terms that I want. But I raised the question of, you're installing a tower on somebody else's, you're paying for a tower to be installed on someone else's property. And part of the agreement is, HD Max, or whatever their name is, they're going to retain ownership of that tower. My understanding is they're also going to provide insurance for that tower, and they're going to pay ad valorem taxes on that tower. You need to be comfortable with the fact that you're providing a service to the public, because you're paying, whatever it is, 60% or a portion of 60% of the tower, and what you're getting is 3 years of internet, and then it's somebody else's tower, and it's somebody else's problem. We got fencing, we got some other obligations, I think, for some attendant structures that go with that. But you need to decide whether you're okay with that step. I'd be perfectly happy. What I think I would recommend, I saw the last of the agreements this morning. I think what I'll recommend, if everybody's on board, is that we do a 3-party contract and we put everything, all the terms in one contract, rather than what's proposed is one contract with HD Max and Grimes County Net, and then one contract with us and GrimesCounty.net. I think we just do all at once, so everybody can see one document and understand the obligations of everybody, and all 3 parties sign that document. But I'm happy to do that. I just shouldn't be putting in the policy that I want. That should be up to you. And I'm sure Harry did his best to negotiate all that he could, but as I said to him in an email, how come we don't get free internet forever? If he's gonna have a tower forever, how come we don't get free internet forever?
I would ask a question, Matt, what is the normal monthly fee for internet service?
I think for the speed he was looking at, it'd be about 105, so you get your money back in about 3 years and change.
Okay.
And it won't be a burden on our property, it will be a burden on the neighbor's
Sure.
property. So I understand why, not in perpetuity to have, if it was on our property and a burden forever, I mean, it's the same arrangement with the tower that we have behind the sheriff's office. Is we have space, and essentially we're not paying for that space because we have the encumbrance of the tower on our property. But we do continue to have obligations as far as the fencing is concerned.
I mean, basically, the match company and our neighbors could have signed an agreement to build the tower on their property, and they could have just sold us service without any involvement.
Right.
But we felt like it was equitable for us to share in those costs, because there was a discussion about a tower on our property, they put it on theirs. They are taking on a significant burden with the taxes and insurance and things to have the property, and just the diminishment of their property usage. Now, Max was able to get the tower designed so we don't have guy wires and things that can interfere with any of the access or usage of the property, which is very beneficial. I feel like it's a good agreement for the county. Obviously, these are very simple one-page agreements, 2 separate agreements that probably run contrary to the attorney desire for dotting all the i's and crossing all the t's, but we would like to move forward with this as expediently as possible. The neighbors are moving forward. They are starting to build on their property, and they want to have operations fully enabled up there as quickly as possible.
I promise to try not to muck it up, okay? But I think it would make sense to put them all together, and there are some basic terms that we could include. And again, I just want to be clear, you're relying upon the terms that Harry has negotiated, and if you're okay with those, just say you're okay with it. I'm fine with that. I just don't want to be, I've not been involved in negotiations, so I don't know how much negotiation there has been. I'm perfectly happy trusting Harry, but you all need to make that decision.
Sure.
do you see any objection to it being all 3 parties on one contract?
I think it's a complication that maybe we don't necessarily need to get into. As I said, the service provider and TKT could have done an agreement just between the 2 of them without the county being involved. and then we would just be paying regular rates for service from the facility. We don't have to be a party to that agreement at all. And one of the concerns has been the timeframe for processing agreement for the county. That's why they volunteered to put it on their property. We were originally going to put it on our property. And then it could be a two-party agreement between us and Matt's company. But I'm a little concerned, particularly that their property may sell again in the future, something could happen, they go out of business, whatever, and then it complicates our arrangements. So I kind of like the two separate agreement approach, but again, I'm not the lawyer.
Yeah, we can certainly talk about it. There are benefits to doing it either way. And Harry brings up the exact circumstance. What if the neighbor decides to take the tower down? Where does that leave us? How do we get free internet in our deal with Grimes County Net if the tower's gone? So I think they all fit together, and that's why I'm saying I think you put them all in there, and then any one party can enforce the terms using the same document. There could be things where one party would fail to do what's required, and there may be an action between those. But because we're so dependent on the existence of the tower, it just seems to me that our agreement would be part of the tower agreement. We can figure that out.
Are these commercial rates, Mac?
Yeah.
And I'd like to say that I've had these services since April of last year. Love the internet, the speed, the ability to look at my Ring camera if I need to, answer immediately. So I think it would be great for us to have that and to provide, an option for our citizens to get on this tower. I don't know. Is there a way? And I would complicate it. I was thinking of easement. I don't know. I was just trying to think.
Well, I think Harry's made it clear to me that the intention is that it's all going to be on the neighbor's property, so it's not affecting us other than the fencing. I think we're paying for the fencing. Is any of the fencing going to be on our property?
No, the fencing would be on their property also. One of Matt's requirements is that there be a security fence around the tower. And the tower is going just right across the property line, adjacent to the fence we're going to build anyway. So the neighbors are picking up the taxes associated with this because you've got a taxable entity and a non-taxable entity. They're picking up the taxes, and we said we'll have our fence builder go ahead and do it's like a 15 by 15 foot square fence that he wants. So we said we'd go ahead and take on that burden in recognition that they're taking on some additional burdens that we don't have to.
So the additional burdens is the insurance is one of them.
They have to carry insurance. They will pay property taxes. I don't know what the appraisal district does as far as assessing property taxes on a tower, but whatever impact there is on their property taxes, they're picking that up and we're benefiting from it.
It reminds me again that we want some remedy, and God, leave it to a lawyer to make this difficult, but we want some remedy should HD Max not live up to their obligations and we lose what we thought we were getting in the deal after we've paid our money. We won't have an action against HD Max if we're not in the same contract with HD Max. So, I mean, it reminds me of one of the reasons to make it a three-party contract. I don't want to convolute it, but we're somewhat dependent upon them following through with their obligations before we get the benefit of what we've been promised. So anyway, again, we'll talk through that, but those are those kind of thoughts that enter my mind about whether we should all be in one contract.
Well, I'm certainly in favor of trying to get internet service provided to the parts of the counties that don't currently have it, but if we're going to move forward with this, and it's contingent on what the county attorney says, I'm pretty inclined to go along with whatever recommendations that the county attorney has on most issues regarding the contract, whether it be the type he described or not. I think we owe it to him to allow him to make those legal decisions for us and put us in the best position in the event that something happens like's been described.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm not meaning to beat up on any parties, and Harry and I, together with Matt and people from HD, we'll figure it out. I assume that everybody, you start talking about those ideas, we'll come to a consensus about what makes the most sense. I mean, it's not intended to be, any undue burden on anybody.
Mr. Silcox?
Yeah, I'd just like to make the observation that.
I need to impose on you to come up to the podium so the world can see you in video land. If they have enough internet resource to download and watch.
Good morning, Matt Silcox, the managing member with GrimesCounty.net. I just want to point out to the court that this particular site is nominally commercially viable. If you look on the satellite imagery, there aren't many subscribers within range of this tower. So I understand the risk to the county. I'm the largest investor in this. So I'm a single investor. So I stand to lose a lot, and it's going to take, I have to have 30 or 40 customers just to make this thing pay off within a reasonable amount of time. So I understand your concerns, and we want to arrive at an agreement as soon as we can. But in exchange for my investment, I also don't want to exaggerate the process any more than we have to.
I understand, and so that I can offer some clarity. If there's 1 penny of taxpayer dollars spent, these guys' heads are on the line.
Sure.
And so it doesn't matter how little bit of a benefit it may appear that the county has in relation to the cost to you. If they got a penny that's somebody else's money, I want to be sure there are no issues about how it's being spent.
I understand that. I'm one of those taxpayers as well. Those are my opinions. Thank you for counting.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I do have one question. Where's the $5,010 currently budgeted, or?
It is in the budget for the maintenance bond.
Okay,
We didn't.
so you've got that there?
Yes, sir.
Good, okay.
I just want to add that I've had the internet service since August. It is very good. It's very nice to have it out in the rural area. And if there are no further questions, I move that we approve the agreement with the corrections or additions that our counselor will make, working with Harry, Matt, and Matt, HDD.
Second.
There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 12 by Commissioner Dobianski, seconded by Commissioner Cox. I have one question. Who's the signatory need to be on that?
Whoever, either a member of the court or somebody you want to delegate the authority to. When the court usually approves and says authorize you, they're just delegating the authority to you. You have the ability to delegate that to Harry if you want to. And I'll have a draft. We have CPS court on Friday. I'll have a draft either tomorrow or at the latest Monday in Harry's hands.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, concerns?
You want the signatory?
That's fine.
Okay.
I can move it.
I'll amend the motion to add the judge's signatory.
Okay. So without any further discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 13, authorize Road and Bridge to enter into agreements with, wait. That's what we just did. Well, I had coffee, but I made it, so. Agenda item number 14, consideration and possible approval of proposed salary adjustments for Road and Bridge personnel. See attachment number 14. Mr. Walker.
Road and Bridge has had 2 of our senior operators retire since the budget came in. As a result of those retirements and replacing those individuals with people that are at the bottom of the salary scale, there's a little over $6 of salary money, $6 per hour of salary money available within our 2020 budget. What I'm proposing to do, use that money to primarily to compensate Paul Lewinsky, who is the foreman of the drainage crew. As y'all are aware, we doubled the size of his crew this year, And I failed to include any kind of salary adjustments for him in this year's budget to reflect that. At the time the budget was prepared, we weren't sure if that was gonna be approved or not. I think Paul certainly deserves an increase because of the added duties he's taken on. As I said, he's one employee short of doubling his crew. The complication in that, Paul is one of the 3 foremen we have. He's been with the county about 4 years, and the other 2 have both been with us over 20 years. And they are somewhat ahead of him on the salary scale because of the years of longevity. But I can't give Paul any kind of a significant raise without having to adjust their salaries also, or else, he's gonna pass the guys that have been here for 20+ years, and I don't think that's fair either. So what I propose to do is give Paul an increase and give Patrick and Scotty an increase also to maintain the structure within that foreman's group, so that everybody sort of stays in their current positions relative to one another. And then a little bit of the extra money that's left I would like to distribute to some of the rank and file employees that have done exceptionally well, that we have not given merit raises the past 2 years, and we've got some people that are just outstanding employees that I would like to give them a little bit of recognition using a portion of this money. So with that said, I'll be glad to answer any questions. There is, I think in your packet, there is a spreadsheet that shows the dollar amounts for each employee, who they were recommended to.
Have you reviewed this, Ms. Mary?
Well, Judge, I've got a few comments.
Absolutely, go ahead.
So with regard to the foreman, all of them will be taking on additional duties due to the implementation of the second drainage crew. It could impact all of their duties and responsibilities. So I don't necessarily have an issue with that adjustment. We've done that several times here recently when people take on different duties and additional duties. While I certainly agree with you regarding the performance of the additional employees you mentioned, our policy doesn't allow for us to make those changes at this time unless we deviate from what the policy says with regard to merit raises.
I believe that's correct. I think February and May are the designated times to propose merit raises.
Have they had an evaluation?
I have not, but we can do that.
But
Those are for the following, for the next year though, for budgetary.
February and May coming in, that is proposals basically for the new budget starting October 1. Because in his case, yes, there's money left in his budget, but if I came in here and wanted to give my girls a raise, I don't have any extra money in my budget. And that would mean that we would have to pull it from fund balance. And that's, and so.
We're not taking from fund balance.
I know.
This is within the current year's budget already because of the retirements we've experienced.
It's just, merit raises are not something that, the policy allows during the year.
That would be my comments. Just
Okay.
take into consideration, we have a policy that governs the issuance of merit raises at this time.
Your comments are worth considering. But if there's no motion, there's.
I have a comment also.
Okay.
I've seen these operators. Sean King is a maintainer operator, I believe, and I know Donald West has done an excellent job on the ditching crew. If we don't continue to raise the pay of these individuals who are doing a good job. We're gonna lose them like we did 5 years ago. If we can't do this, I understand, but I'd really like to see it happen. Because if, like I said, if we don't, with the employment like it is now, everybody's looking for employees, you know.
I agree with you. I mean, I would like to address that issue later with regard to merit raises in the budget planning process for next year. I just don't know that it's the right time right now to award merit raises. We've got a whole county to consider whenever we do that. If we do it like that could come in at any time and request a merit raise. There's a difference between a merit raise and having somebody be assigned additional duties or even an additional job that may require an adjustment in salary. But a performance-based pay increase at this point in the budget, even though it doesn't impact this year's bottom line, it will certainly impact next year's bottom line. And I think it's something that we need to consider in the budget process. And while I certainly, you know, I appreciate the work that you and your employees do, I just don't want to get us I'm fearful of getting in a situation where we have an issue with some employees getting merit raises and other employees not.
And I might add that the past 2 years, I have proposed merit raises for certain members of my crew, and the court has decided to go with cost of living adjustments. And just from a philosophical standpoint, I like a merit raise system because you can reward the people that are doing a better job than the others, and that helps to inspire some of the others to step up and do better. You know, they're not necessarily people that are in a position where they have an opportunity to move up a grade or get additional duties, but they're just doing a real good job within their assigned duties as is. So I believe in the merit raise system. I know it's more complicated, it's more difficult, and you know, if you decide to allow merit raises this year, that would be great, but that's a future consideration. I would like to take advantage of the availability of the money we do have in this year's budget if possible.
Well, if there's no other discussion or no other questions, I'll make a motion then to approve salary adjustments for the Road and Bridge foreman, Patrick Shimshak, Scotty Gressett, and Paul Kowinski.
As presented on this?
As presented, yes, sir.
I second.
On agenda item number 14, there is a motion by Commissioner Cox, a second by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there further discussion or comment? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Agenda item number 15, County Judge Joe Fout, discuss and take action to train and hire a human resources director due to the retirement of Lucy Pope, effective May 29, 2020. Commissioners, as you became aware at the same time I did, Ms. Pope has made the decision after many years of service to Grimes County to submit her letter of resignation to coincide with her retirement to start May the 29th of 2020. And knowing the importance of having a good, strong human resources person taking care of human resources, I don't necessarily think didn't think that was going to be an easy fill. So my desire for putting this on the agenda now is we've got February, March, April, and May, which is a 4-month period. But in order for us to advertise and interview and so on and so forth and get somebody in, I wanted to make sure that we had somebody that learned what our HR department currently does, so that when it comes to benefits for the employees, salaries for the employees, job descriptions for the employees, training for the employees, and on and on and on, I wanted to make sure we started this process sooner than kind of a last minute Charlie. So that's why it is on the agenda. We don't really have to make a decision today if a decision is not ready to be made today, but I wanted to get it out there in front of the court that we need to be actively thinking about what are our options, how are we going to replace it, how are we going to fill that position, not replace that position. And Janice, are you okay for me to share your offer? The Treasurer's Department came to me and said that they would be willing to absorb human resources into their department. And once upon a time, that's the way it was. It has been changed from that process where the HR position, we now have a department head, a director that does that and reports through Commissioner's Court versus through another elected official. I have been the liaison for the most part with HR, bringing that information to the court. So that is an option that is there, but there's also keeping things effectively the way they are to a degree. And I'll just share my previous experience versus coming to the court in working with a number of companies and a number of businesses. I never understood why they had HR reporting through the CFO of the company, but that's where they designated it. So there was one group of companies that had it that way. The other group of companies said, you know what, we're better served to have HR reporting through the president of the company. In this case, it would be through Commissioner's Court. So there's two schools of thought out there, and depending on the company or the situation or the complication of issues, both ways work, and either way would be an option for us as a court to consider. But that's just some, I don't think there's a right way or there's a wrong way. We just need to determine through Commissioner's Court for Grimes County what is the best way to provide HR attention to our employees. And without our employees, we don't function very well. Or the auditor has to find us more money and we hire contractors. So I say that not to complicate the issue, just to say that, you know, it's something that we need to be strongly thinking about and talking about. And I'm okay to put it on the agenda week after week until we decide what we're going to do. But, you know, option is change the way we're doing it, keep it the way we're doing it, or keep it the way we're doing it and modify it to some degree. It's up to us to make that decision.
I wasn't here when the change was made to separate the HR from, it used to be in the Treasurer's Department. But over the years in just dealing with the HR department, I think there was a need to maybe separate it because of the massive amount of work and the issues that you deal with in HR. And looking at the job description as to what all the HR's responsibilities and essential functions are in a world today, I just believe that it's enough work to support a separate office like we have. I think your workload in your office is already tremendous over in the Treasurer's Department. I know some of the same functions kind of overlay as far as the FI, the financial software that you use, but then you've got this other part of HR that deals with the all of the compensations. The HR is such a sensitive matter to me. It demands its own attention, seems like to me. And I know that your department is complicated as well with, especially on top of everything that we're doing too, in changing software, just looking at what I saw this week. I just believe that I would like to see us go out and at least explore the market of what's out there. I know unemployment is extremely low, and we've had some positions that have been open for a while, even in your department over at the auditor's department. But I believe that it is a function of the county that, to me, should remain separated from the treasurer's department.
Okay,
That's just my thoughts.
that's fine.
I
That's
agree.
what this is about.
I agree with what Commissioner Walker said. I think it does need to be a separate entity because of the delicate issues that are dealt with in HR. And again, we're gonna be growing as a county. There will be more and more employees to keep up with. So I think we need to get it out there and see what we have apply.
Yeah, I would be in agreement with both of y'all on that issue. It's not a matter of whether or not Ms. Trent's office or whoever's office has the ability, because I think anybody in the county right now in a management position has the ability to do it, but it comes down to what's best practice.
Sure.
And I think having the HR report directly to the Commissioners Court is best practice when you're talking about human resources, because they manage our most valuable and expensive asset in the county, and that's the way I look at our employees. They are assets. And I would agree with Commissioner Walker that I'd like to search the market to find qualified, not to say anybody here wouldn't be qualified, but I think we open it up to application beyond necessarily staying in-house.
I do appreciate the treasurer coming and saying, hey, I would consider taking that under my umbrella, because I know when we've had some positions come open where we have the choice of putting it back to another elected official, they kind of like, no, I don't want any part of it. So whether we go with your offer or not,
It's out there, that's all.
and I appreciate you making the offer, because I understand. And at the end of the day, I know we're all trying to do what's best for the county, and sometimes those decisions aren't easy. So I guess, like I said, I wanted to get this out here. We don't need to make a decision today, but I did want to bring it to the auditor's attention and to the court's attention, because if we leave it like it is, and we did hire from the outside, then I do believe that position is important. I know that position is important enough and sensitive enough that I would want to get somebody in here before Lucy retires, so that they have time to shadow Lucy and learn the procedures and the processes, because that's not something it would be fair to leave on, dump on Donna's shoulders and assume that she's going to remember everything that needs to be done in that department. So I come back to you, Mary. If we did have to do a double salary for a month or 6 weeks or whatever we decide to do, we'd have to take that out of fund balance. Would that be correct?
Yes,
Okay.
unless y'all want to cut some of y'all's budgets and put it in there.
Probably not going to get any offers there, but that's always an option. But that would be, I mean, we could do that, and that would be a remedy of how we'd handle the salary. Okay.
Well, you're probably not gonna hire in at the same rate if this is a beginning.
Depends on what your market bears, yeah.
Depends on the experience they have too.
I heard on just anecdotal to this, that there was a conversation about an HR director on some radio show talking about the average salary for that particular position at this time is about $70,000 a year. Now, there's all kinds of things that go into those considerations, and certainly I don't know that we could pay that, but that just kind of gives you an idea of the salary range. And I think that we probably need to go ahead, it would be my opinion, that we might need to go ahead and get this posted or advertised, because if we're trying to bring them in 30 days prior to the departure of Ms. Pope,
And I think, I don't mean to cut you, but I think 30 days is a minimum.
it
It is.
we're starting to, I mean, if we're gonna, that gives people that may be working in the county right now to think about whether or not they want to apply for it, but it also gives us time in the event that we don't get any applicants, that we have time to go recruit somebody.
Now, isn't the process that we go in-house first for so long, and then we take it to outside?
I don't think we have that process anymore. I think the court did away with it. I think there's no requirement to post.
I'm looking at,
3 days.
5 days for anyone out of the, that doesn't work for the county, or more.
But I thought we did away with the posting requirement.
3 days.
I post it internally for 3 days, and then I put it out for the county to, on the website, and the county to be aware of it.
Okay. Whatever the requirements are.
Okay, all right. So are there any other comments?
maybe if we look at that in terms of what it's gonna cost, like you said, at a minimum, 30 days, but if we could do more, that would be great, because this is a position, much like elections, there are so many laws and things to wrap your head around. So I just put it out there.
Okay. And I have had an internal employee that has already contacted me and said that they're interested in the position. And sometimes that would, if a selection was made in that direction, that might speed up the training process, because they're already familiar with our systems and our software and people and departments and things of that sort. But all right, so with that, Sharif, if you would put it at the end of the month agenda, the 4th week agenda. I don't think we need to discuss it again next week, but, well, I said we don't. Lucy, do you want to go ahead and post it internally?
I can.
Commissioners, would you be having a willingness for her to go ahead and do that 3-day posting? Why don't you go ahead and do that, post that position? And then by the time, and that way we'd have something to talk about at the regularly scheduled meeting on the 4th Wednesday. And if we didn't have an internal, then we can make the move to go outside. Of course, we'll need to start expediting at that point, but we can do that.
Are you wanting it to leave it internal until after the meeting at the end of the month? Or are you wanting her to just?
Well, that's kind of what we're doing, I think.
Okay, I just wanted a clarification for myself on what you were gonna do.
We're not gonna consider you for that job.
I don't want to be considered.
Okay.
So are we taking an action to hire?
Well, I think what we can do is discuss and take action to train to hire. Maybe I should have worded this differently, but discuss and take action to determine a process to hire. Can I make that change in this enough?
Sure.
Okay.
It's part of the hiring process.
To discuss and take action to determine a process to hire. Human Resources Director due to the retirement of Lucy Pope. So what we're going to do is we're going to post it internally, review internal candidates if we get any. And as I said, I've had one person approach me. I might have 10 people approach once it's posted. And then we can make a decision at the end of the month. We can move from that direction or go outside. Did y'all get all that?
It is a change. There is no requirement.
No action taken, is that what you're saying? If you're gonna take some action, make a motion in a second.
Yeah. But I wanted to make sure our ladies taking the minutes got all of that changed.
You wanna make the motion?
I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion that we post the HR director position internally. Gives us an opportunity to see what employees are interested. All right, post it internally for a minimum of 3 days, and then we will bring the issue up in the fourth meeting of the fourth Wednesday of February to determine further course of action. I rest.
Second.
There's a motion before the court presented by County Judge Joe Faust, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. 16, review, discuss, and take action upon review of Gessner's proposal for material testing. See attachment number 16.
I don't see, but I do remember that.
Commissioner Mallett?
The architect originally put in $20,000 as an estimate for materials testing. He admitted he way undershot it. A lot of research I've done for a project this size, it could range anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000 for that type, depending on travel. We've met with Gessner and with the contractor, and but they did send a proposal for $45,223. It's basically an estimate depending on how many times they have to come out and how many tests they take. I believe we can work with the contractor to make sure that Gessner can come out and do multiple tests at one time for different parts of the project, which could help reduce the number as well. But I'd recommend that we have it not to exceed $45,000 on it, and hopefully come in a little bit under that. I guess the contract, Mr. Fultz, you had one that you kind of had a sample of, and then they had this one here. Did you get a chance to review the one I sent you?
The second one I got was the testing rate schedule. I don't know that I've seen it.
Did I not send you this one?
I don't know if you did.
Or didn't?
I may not have seen
Okay.
it. But they did send a sample contract from an entity that they contracted with previously. You can certainly approve this on condition of my review and approval of the contract. The primary terms are what service they're going to provide and how much you're going to pay.
Yes.
Kyle?
It's a not to exceed 45,000. We really need to get, we need to expedite this because we're in the process of moving forward. We're already there. Gessner is here today if we have any questions for them. It's in my opinion, it's in Harry's opinion and Chad's opinion, the two civil experts, that we don't want to scrimp on testing. There can be places other like sidewalks and we don't want to scrimp on the foundation.
Understood.
The testing needs to be done. Michael Lloyd of P-Gal did admit he just undershot it. This is not going to be, in my best estimate, I've looked through there, this is not going to be an every time occurrence. But this is an important occurrence that's happening right now. And we really need to get this. We can approve it upon John's approval of
The written document.
the written document. I recommend this. I believe Harry would recommend this, and I know Chad does.
Well, I was at the meeting yesterday that this discussion came up, and I do agree this is not the area to scrimp on. And I will agree with Chad and Harry's assessment that we need to do this.
Okay, so somebody want to throw a motion up there?
I move to approve the contract pending county attorney's review to enter an agreement with Gessner Engineering with a not to exceed price of $45,000 for the materials testing.
And okay, go ahead. Are you?
I'm going to second it with a comment.
Okay. Got a motion before the court by Commissioner Mallett, seconded by Commissioner Cox. Open for comment.
Yes, and even though the testing expense is more than what was estimated by the architect. We have made up money to cover that expense through some other changes that were made. So I don't know how you say it. I guess it's a wash, basically, at the end of the day.
Also, originally, we had the contract, it was gonna go through the contractor to pay Gessner, but we're gonna have a direct contact with them and actually pay them ourselves, so.
So, yesterday I met with Talita. I dropped the ball on her in the morning. I'm gonna admit it in court. I can't say I'm sorry enough to her. And I didn't realize how we were gonna pay it. Talita, you wanna tell the court how Brad?
Yeah, so Brad basically said that they're gonna
And Brad
take,
is?
Brad
With Collier.
Yes.
All right.
so they're gonna take the money that we had allotted into the contract, which is the $20,000. They're
Yeah.
gonna remove it from that line and roll it back into the owner contingency. So we'll enter in the contract with Gessner,
Gessner.
and we will pay Gessner directly.
Okay. And are you Gessner?
Yes, sir.
Can you do this for $45,000 or less?
I hope so, but I can't guarantee that.
What do you not know that doesn't allow you to guarantee that?
It's just the way construction works. I mean, I had budgeted, for an example, I budgeted 20 piers a day to do, and yesterday in our meeting, Kyrie was saying 15. Well, I was like, oh crap, here we go. Then the guy that's gonna do the pier drilling comes in and he says he can do 30 a day. Well, if he can do 30 a day, we can do in 3 days what I had budgeted for 2. So we'll gain. So it just depends on how everything runs, how everything goes. We've got the pad in place, the subgrade is in, everything's passed. I checked everything yesterday. We're about $300 under budget right now.
Okay.
So what I want to do, I'll be the project manager. I want to test the best we can to make sure the building is good, but I want to do it as efficiently and as cost effective as I can, because I want to work for y'all again.
And I think that's all we can ask.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it'd be coordination with the contractor to make sure he's not just having to come and test one thing, but can test multiple things on the trip.
Al's gonna be the project manager, right?
Correct.
So I like working with him because I can tell him what's going on. If they're calling us out there for, come here for this, come here for that, come here for that, I can tell him. And he can say, Collier, come on, stop. Or do this or do that.
And just for clarification, he's our project manager. We've got other people involved, but they're all going through Al so that we make sure that you don't get confused by listening to 2 or 3 people.
That's right.
Okay.
And
Because we've got
I'll
Harry
pay
Walker
for it.
involved, we've got Chad Mallett involved, and we got Commissioner Cox involved.
Well, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
But with the county paying as being our client, we're working for y'all.
Right.
If Collier's paying us,
Working for them. No, I understand.
So
Okay.
much rather work for the county.
Sounds good. And we pay on time and fast, don't we? No, we do.
I mean, I don't know how y'all, once a month, how y'all do that, I don't know. That's.
Well, if you give 10% for payment, reduction for payments in 10 days, then we can probably pay you in 10 days.
That's a negotiating.
Joski's used to do that, but they're out of business now, so. All right. Are there any other comments? Because there's a motion and a second in front of us.
Who made the motion?
Commissioner Mallett made the motion, Commissioner Cox is seconded. And we've had discussion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you all. Agenda item number 17, discuss Commissioners Court regular meeting schedule on February 12th, 2020, and cancel reschedule based on VG Young. I'd just like to do a quick head count. Commissioner Mallett, are you going to be present for Commissioners Court on February the 12th?
No, sir.
Commissioner Dobianski?
No.
Commissioner Walker?
If necessary.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Commissioner Cox?
I'm scheduled for the conference. I mean, if we need somebody, I can. The answer's no.
Okay.
Just making it.
Okay. All right. Mr.
Don't have it
Foltz, recommendation on procedure?
If you don't believe you're gonna have a quorum, you can just cancel the meeting.
Okay. Sheree, I know that we've pumped quite a bit to the 12th already.
People have submitted things for the 12th, but they can wait. That's why we have 3 meetings a month now.
Anything that's time is of the essence?
That's up to the people.
If that's the case, then we can call an emergency meeting or a special
I'll
meeting.
call around and find out, Harry, this is your heads up. And see what people have to say. I'll get back to you.
So for the world out there to see, the next regular meeting of Commissioners Court will be February 26th, which is the 4th Wednesday of the month. Thank you, Commissioners. With that, then we will move to agenda item number 18, consider and take action regarding the burn ban and authorize county judge. That wind condition we've had over the weekend has been pretty devastating with some fires in other counties, but we're getting some moisture today, so I would recommend we leave it as is. No burn ban in place. Is that an agreement? Yes. All right. Agenda item number 19, receive any updates on the strategic plan?
Just a little side note here, nothing significant at this point. I did talk to the county extension agent regarding the hog strategic item on there. So there's been a discussion going, nothing.
Very good. With that, is there a motion on agenda item number 20? That's a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second. There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 20 by Commissioner Dobianski, seconded by Commissioner Mallett. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. It's 10:22.